Alrighty. I think we are live.
Sure.
What is up, CJ?
Yo.
I think I have adjusted my settings to be working accordingly, but we'll see how that goes. I sent out my link on YouTube for people who want to log in there, but let's get this thing on the road. Make sure my mic volume is okay because we're still kind of trying to figure that out. But yeah, Sunday Stock Talk. What's up, everyone? It's been a minute. It's been about 7 days since last Sunday. So let's get this thing going. Really quick, I just wanted to do a quick little futures check. So as of right now, 7:01 PST on April 11th, 2021, ES and NQ are both down about a quarter point. VX, which is the volatility index, the VIX futures, is currently up about a point and 3/4. And overall, market is looking a little fresh.
Shout out to those puts you swung.
So let's run this thing. Let's get it. So really quick, I just wanted to give this little word before we start. I am personally in a short position. I am in short QQQ. I am holding onto 430 expiry. 336 puts. I bought them right before close as a speculative short. I had called those out. And yeah. So that said, here is our daily chart. I'll just put it on an hourly really quick. And I'll show you guys what I'm thinking. What is that? Alright, cool. So, I don't know why that thing disappeared. Let me just update that really quickly. So pretty much what I'm seeing there. Alright, I guess we'll just use these two. I don't know why this chart's just not working for some reason. Or this one. Sheesh. Technical difficulties over here, man. Alrighty. So, sorry. We're about to cross down on hourly charts for both ES and on NQ, which is kind of a big deal because we haven't had really that much of downwards motions since we've crossed the 400 mark for ES, or 4,000. So notice we've just been kind of ripping higher and higher. We finally have a crossover, which is kind of our little indication. Oh wait, I don't see anything. Oh shoot, sorry y'all. Whoopsies. Yeah, charts are on YouTube. Yep. My bad. Yeah, so we have a cross to the downside on the hourly chart. So notice right here, our MACD lines are almost crossed. Our ES line for MACD right here also crossing down pretty soon. We're also out of the overbought area for RSI, but for the NASDAQ futures, we are kind of just falling down a little bit. Overall, I'm personally a little bearish, and not really bearish. I just think we should pull back a little bit because we are heavily overbought. And also, I wasn't a huge fan of how the VIX rose with that pump that we had at the end of the day on Friday. So overall, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a pullback going into Monday. I don't know of what magnitude, but I do believe that we will have a small pullback. That said, let's get right into this. Just ES, NQ, VX, just to kind of give you guys some names. And I just wanted to really quickly go over common names that I like looking at. How come I didn't give the link for the reversal indicator? That one's currently in testing. So I'm going to be taking, let's see, Apple. I'm putting up like the more common names that I like taking. So Apple, Amazon, and JP Morgan. Why is it giving me this issue? That's so weird. And so overall, I mean, I think that Apple was heavily underappreciated. Do you trade on TD or TOS? Can you trade both? I personally trade on Thinkorswim. I use it for my charting and for all my executions. Does your indicator work on TradingView? I have no idea. It's coded specifically for for Thinkorswim. So really quick, I just wanted to show you guys this kind of... Why is that doing that, dude? That's so wild. I guess I'm just going to have to put them all into this middle chart. I'm so sorry, guys. I didn't expect to have technical difficulties on an indicator that I've been using this whole time. It's probably because I removed it and then re-added it. Can we get a script for TradingView? I would have to ask David for that because he's the guy who coded this for me. So really quick, Apple, I'll put it on this chart because I had to maximize my sell. So really quick, Apple daily chart. We had this very clean rounding bottom. Notice we had a MACD cross back at 122.5, and since then I did ping to the upside long. I wanted to take this thing as a share position. In hindsight, I should have bought a lot of options, but overall I think that we might see it top out around 135 before we see some sort of pullback for, at least for Apple, or we might top out at this kind of like 133, 132 in order to kind of try to form a cup and handle before we head even higher to retest the 140s. That's just kind of how I see Apple. Next, we have Amazon. Amazon, almost the exact same setup. So notice that we actually broke the top of our previous, or for our left side of our rounding bottom. So notice right here, we are rounding out. This is a daily chart, keep in mind. And we are kind of topping out at this 3372. It's been constant green days, and overall Amazon has been a pretty good choice because it was flat for so long. Almost a whole month it was about just completely flat. So overall I think Amazon definitely has room to the upside to continue running, but until then I would be very patient with it. Overall I think that we might just see a flat to slightly red week, and with that in mind, it is just kind of a sit on your hands, be patient with the market type of week. At least how I feel with it currently as we speak on the 11th of April 2021. So really quick, here is a JP Morgan as well. JP Morgan, I'll put this on an hourly chart because I like day trading it. So really quickly, JP Morgan hasn't been at this like 150 mark for quite, a while. I think that they're topping out previously at this huge dump that they had recently from 157 all the way down to 151. We finally did break above the 200-day moving average, and we just pinged a reversal to the downside. So that's just something to keep in mind here. Unless it broke above 156.5, I wouldn't be very confident in a long position with JP Morgan in particular. I think that the earnings week that they have is going to definitely play as a catalyst, though. So they are very high on my watch list. If they can break that 156.5, I would consider them long. Otherwise, I would not be taking them to the upside. I think it's very strong uptrend right now if they can get this MACD to cross back over. Next, we have Tesla. So for Tesla, I'm a little bullish here. I'm gonna be honest. I'm pretty bullish, mainly because of just this support that we're seeing here at this like 550 to 600 level. We've been relatively flat in this level, and overall the action when it gets to this mark is kind of a buy the effing dip type action. So notice right here, every time we kind of bottom out right here, we cancel this H pattern, and we have a bull flag pinging on the daily chart. So I would be playing off of is the 9 and 20 SMA kind of curling up and continuing upwards. And this little formation of candles turns into a bull flag, and we ride back up to 720. That would be my profit target for Tesla. I think that they have a setup to run. It's more a matter of waiting for it to happen. Next we have Costco. Costco has been a fan favorite of mine, to be honest. I have not taken this many trades on a retail stock in quite a while. They pay out pretty well due to their Greeks being honestly very optimal. And for a $2 move, you have quite the premium push. So I find that I make about 30% on a 3-week out expiration with like a $2 to $3 move, and that is abnormally high. I'm not going to complain about it, but I think it's a great stock to play, and it's also very forgiving for beginners because it is quite slow. So you know if you are wrong when it comes to taking a trade. So overall, the setup that it has right now almost is like a kind of a rounding bottom / cup and handle. I'd be careful of the MACD trying to cross back down pretty soon. It looks like it's trying to round out a top. So if it can't break above 365 this week, I would be considering it maybe to retest 357.5 before we head back upwards. Can I do Neo and Plug? I can add those to the watch list. Lastly, I have Home Depot. I'm just doing my personal watch list really quick. So yeah, Home Depot has been on this massive tear for the past maybe month or so. And I don't think we're going to see a sign of it stopping. We have a wide open MACD, although it is showing very overbought in terms of our RSI. I would not be caught dead trying to short this thing. I don't think that the setup right now is to the downside. And so overall, I wouldn't be surprised if we continue to watch Home Depot just take a slow rise. They also pay very similarly to Costco. They pay very well. And a quick little $3 move with a 2-week, 3-week expiry can pay you out about 30%. Overall, I'm a pretty big fan. This one does move a little more than Costco, so it is not as forgiving. But overall, I think it's a solid play. CJ was the one who put this one on my radar, and I absolutely admire the hell out of the options premium here.
Talk that talk, Art.
I'm gonna keep doing it. So I also have Mara here. This was kind of a common requested one for me. Mara is currently almost looking like a bull flag here. If you can get this thing back above the 50 mark, I would consider it to the upside. You have a crossover to the upside here, but MACD is trying to close. So it's something to consider and be careful about. But overall, I think that in terms of a swing trade maybe, Mara might be a decent play if you can catch it on the bull flag break. In terms of an hourly chart, it is a little bearish. You have an open MACD to the downside, but you just pinged a reversal to the upside at 48.5. So just something to consider. Just really depends on how long you're willing to hold this position for. I already did QQQ. Check out Riot. Sure. So here is... I'll have to load up. Here's Riot. So let me pull on a 4-hour chart. Actually, no, I'll put a daily really quick for you guys. So here's Riot. It's holding on to 50 SMA, kind of banging its head between 9 and 20 SMA along with 50. I think that they're currently a little bit in the consolidation phase. When you look at it in terms of more of a squeezed in chart though, it does look like a giant kind of like bullish triangle. So if you can get this thing back above like 20 SMA at 55, I would consider it to the upside and taking profit at like 60 or 65. And if you can do that, you can obviously take it even higher. I think that you definitely need to hold on to this 50 SMA or we're going to watch Riot kind of plummet back downwards. Can you do Neo and Plug? Yeah, I'll add that into the watch list. I'm currently running through other requests. Also, can I do Teledoc and F? Can you send me the Teledoc ticker, or can you type that in? I actually don't know what that is. I also have APPS, apps. So apps is currently crossed over in terms of a daily chart. I would want to take it long above 90 to retest 100 based off of the daily setup. You also have a pinged upside from our visualizer, and you also pinged reversal at 75.5. Overall, I think that they're pretty bullish, and we could definitely watch this thing ride higher if you can get it above 90. Otherwise, I would be a little hesitant with that. Next, we have UNP. UNP, I just did a chart for this one not too long ago. I think that UNP has a very nice setup to the upside if you can see this thing break back above the 224 mark. So notice 1, 2, 3 tops right here. If you can get the triple top break at 225, I definitely think we can watch this thing ride higher. But until then, I would be a little patient with it. But it is set up to the upside if you can get it above 225. So I'll actually set an alert right here as something that we'll have on our watch list for tomorrow. I do like UNP though. I also have Facebook. So Facebook, I think, is kind of in consolidation right now. These past couple of days, it has been absolutely shredding to the upside. It was very flat on Friday, but it just pinged a possible upside reversal here at 312.08. If you can get this MACD to cross back to the upside, and if you can keep this relatively neutral RSI, I think that we can definitely retest that 315, 316 mark. I'm mainly a momentum trader, or rather pattern trader. I would say pattern scalp trading. I do a lot of options. We also have a Microsoft, MSFT. So MSFT 255. This thing's also been on an absolute tear recently from the beginning of this month till now. It has gone up about 20 points, which is absolutely wild because Microsoft doesn't typically move too much. I would say that Microsoft's currently on a mission. Yep, David agrees. Microsoft's on a mission. So it's currently firing a long in terms of our visualizer. It is crossed to the upside. It is very bullish on RSI. It's about to go into the overbought. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a small pullback and then we continued ripping higher with Microsoft in particular. Ever since the news where they said that they were going to be buying Discord, they've been on this tear to the upside. This week, you need a 40K. Calling it? Yo, I would love to have a $40,000 week after last week. If I do that, I mean, shoot, I'll put up a pretty cool video about about some interesting purchases. But let's see. Zoom is currently playing with the 200-day moving average in terms of an hourly chart. Let me just pull up a daily as well. Daily doesn't look too hot. Neither does the hourly. Let me check the 4-hour chart really quick as well. It's pretty flat. If it doesn't hold on to this 200-day moving average, I will short the crap out of Zoom back down to retest this double bottom at 315. And if it breaks even lower, well, 300 would be my profit target. I think Zoom is going to be phased out pretty soon, especially as we start seeing things reopen. Be careful of this MACD right here crossing to the upside, potentially. Although you have a very bearish RSI, you did ping a reversal to the upside at 321. So just something to consider and be careful with. Overall, Zoom is kind of not looking too hot. I wouldn't be considering this thing long, to say the least. So next we have Alibaba. Alibaba has kind of this almost like an age pattern that's trying to form. It is trying to cross in terms of MACD, so this could turn into a rounding bottom. It is currently firing a short, and it is a little on the oversold side. It pinged a reversal to the upside at 222.3. Overall, I think that if we can get BABA to round out, we can maybe start seeing a recovery back to 230 eventually. I wouldn't touch it. It's a little too early to call. Here is a SPY chart really quick for you guys. So kind of the same thing that I said with ES. I think that SPY is a little on the overbought side. Notice we did hit overbought in terms of RSI. We are starting to cross over pretty soon, so that is something to be cognizant of, because once we have that crossover, remember that that is a change in trend. So when you see that kind of thing, just be cognizant and be careful with a potential reversal to the downside. That concludes those parts of the watch list. I also have to hit what is this, Neo? Neo's been requested quite a bit of times. I think that Neo broke this cup and handle, and it just kind of continued lower because it couldn't get above the 200-day moving average. I would not be long on this thing until it crossed over and above the 200-day moving average. Until then, I'm pretty much neutral to bearish on it. I wouldn't touch it personally unless it got above that mark. It's also getting pretty close to the 200-day moving average in terms of a daily chart. So just be careful with that one. If you're taking it long, above the 200. If you're taking it short, wait for the reject. Let's see, what else we have. Neo and Plug. Plug is currently possible reversal to the downside at 33.14. Firing short in our visualizer, and overall it's a little too neutral for me to say anything about it. Let me just look at it really quickly on a daily chart. Daily chart doesn't look too hot either. Honestly, I would probably just not trade this one at all, to be honest. Maybe as a rounding bottom, but overall I don't think there's much to do here. Let's see what else we have here. T-Doc. T-Doc is trying to form a rounding bottom here on the daily. I think that if you can keep this crossover, you can maybe start seeing it recover back up to like 180, 190 marks, like higher or mid 180 marks. But I would wait for the 20 SMA break at 185 before I take anything long on this. You did have a crossover to the upside, and that could be playing in your favor. Otherwise, I'd be careful. Overall, let me just check it out on an hourly really quick as well. Hourly, you need a break and keep above this 200-day moving average. Otherwise, you're just going to see it get pushed back downwards. Apps. I think I already did apps, but here, let me just rock it for you one more time. So, daily chart, apps. I would wait for it above 90 because you kind of have had two little tops right here for 90. And if you really want to be safe, wait for a 95 break for apps. Otherwise, I would not be considering it to the upside. Ford. I think that if you can have Ford hold on to this 20 and 9 SMA, you might be able to see it kind of bottom out and head even higher with this possible reversal at 12.11. But right now you have an open MACD to the downside, and our visualizer is just showing kind of a neutral. I wouldn't take this thing, to be honest. There's not much going on with it. Also, I don't really know how the premiums pay. I've never played Ford in particular. So overall, I would just avoid this one. Let's see, we got DraftKings, DKNG. So let's see. We've got DraftKings. So DraftKings is currently rejecting 200 SMA. We saw it do it twice now. Here's one rejection. Here's two rejections. We do have a reversal to the downside at 62.9. I would not be taking this thing long for any reason in terms of an hourly chart. And on a daily chart, it looks like a H pattern. So notice, here's our stick, here's our H. It rejected 50 SMA. If it can't bottom out at 60, I would expect it to continue heading lower back down to 57.5, if not even lower than that. What do I think about Amazon? Amazon was one of the first stocks that I charted out. Petruccio. Just go to the very beginning of the stream and you'll see it there. Square. Okay, Square looks kind of nice. It's currently on a trajectory to the upside. You have a crossover. You're firing a long in terms of our visualizer. You had 218 shoot to the upside as well. And overall, I think that if you guys can get this thing back to... Actually, not even. Currently where it's at, it has that gap fill potential here from 216 to... Or, I mean, 261 to 270. Square definitely has a lot of potential here. I'm going to have a quick little alert set just so I can remember to do this one. Keep this on the watch list. Above 262.5, I think we'll gap fill back up to 270. Overall, I think it's pretty strong. Airbnb. This just looks like an H pattern. It's not crossing back up to the upside. I would be very bearish on Airbnb. Just in terms of, like, at a glance. In terms of an hourly chart, I don't think they look very good either. Just looking at this. Kind of looks like a head and shoulders over a few days. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing headed even lower. Can you show what indicators you have on the chat right now? Sure. Here's my indicator set. Feel free to screenshot that. I use 9, 20, 50, 200 SMA. I use RSI, and I use MACD. Does anyone have any other tickers that you would like me to check out? Seems like this is going to be a pretty quick little stock talk. I appreciate you guys all for tuning in and everything. The recent support has been quite awesome. And if you haven't already, feel free to subscribe, like or comment, you know the vibes. Hit the notification bell if you really want. But overall, I mean, just the market looks pretty fresh. Snow and Upstart. I don't know what Upstart's ticker is. So while I wait on that one, I'll just hit I'll hit Snow. So Snow kind of looks like it's rounding out a bottom here. You have a reversal to the upside at 219. I think that if you can hold on to this 20 SMA, you can potentially see it start riding back upwards, but it might turn into an H pattern. I'd be careful of that, but overall I think that, actually no, yeah, 100%. Hourly also has an H pattern, and it broke below 200 SMA. I'd be kind of weary of a push lower with how it's currently set up, especially if it crosses down on the daily chart. No good. NNDM and Fubo. NNDM. All right, so this used to be a favorite of mine until it started being really flat. So as of right now, I think it's just a little too early to call anything on it, actually. Almost looks like an H, but just not enough's going on with an NDM for me to consider taking anything on this as of right now. Fubo is another stock I haven't really looked at in a while. So, dang, okay. Fubo just got their 200-day moving average, and they're already kind of banging up against it. If they can cross here on the MACD, you can maybe see it ride back up to 26, but I'd be very careful of this one. They haven't been around for long enough to be for indicators to work well with them. And then in terms of an hourly chart, I mean, it's probably going to be a similar story. Yeah, 200 SMA is getting rejected. I would wait for it to break above and then maybe try to take it to 26. But if it were my choice, I wouldn't take it at all, to be honest. Let's see. Upstart is UPST. Whoops. So Upstart. These guys are also extremely new. As of right now, they're trying to cross to the downside. If they fall below the 20 SMA, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it kind of retract back down to the $100 mark. I know that's a 25% drop, but daily chart crossovers are kind of strong. Nvidia, Disney, got you. So Nvidia is currently holding on to and bounced off of the 200-day moving average, and it also crossed to the upside. It might try to top out at 580. I'd be careful of that, but as of right now, it is still firing long. Just be wary of that 580 mark. I know that's been kind of a struggle point for Nvidia for a little while. Disney. Disney is still crossed to the downside. I'd be careful with Disney because it is currently dancing around all of our moving averages, and if it does fall below, it could get a little spicy here with a potential drop. We are short in terms of our indicator. Although it is pinging to the upside, it is kind of flat. It's been consolidating, if anything, and they're currently sitting below 200-day moving average. So overall, I mean, wait for it to break above here or just don't take it. Overall, I'm not sure how I'd feel about it. Not sure if you've covered, but Roku and Netflix, sure. So Roku, oh, okay, this is kind of nice actually. All right, so let's pull a daily really quick. Roku's getting close to the 50-day moving average. It's pinging almost at the, or not pinging, it's crossing over here, and it's pinging a long. Overall, I think that we might see this thing touch 50 SMA in terms of a daily chart. I would just be careful with this like 380, 375 mark because it's kind of flat here, and you might just get munched by theta. Just something to consider here. Overall, I think that it could potentially break to higher highs, but I would be careful with that. Again, just it needs to get above this 385 ultimately, but if it can't get above that 378, 375 mark, it's going to be a struggle bus for sure. Can I check out Netflix? So also with Netflix, kind of the same thing that we were seeing on Nvidia. We are kind of trying to get above this like 560 mark. I'd be very careful with it below that, but it did hold on to 550 fairly well on Friday. So overall, I think that we could potentially just keep seeing this thing rise. Be careful of the double top at 560. Might be a little early to call for Netflix, at least in particular. PNC. Let's see. All right, so we've got PNC. Currently triple topping at this $180 mark. If you can get the break above, you can maybe see it retest this 184 in terms of a daily chart. And then in terms of an hourly, in terms of a daily, if you can break above that 184, 185 mark, you'll definitely see this thing continue running upwards. Just in terms of technicals, it's pretty nicely set up if you can break. Otherwise, do not be surprised if it heads back down to the 200-day moving average, just based off of kind of historical trend, what we're seeing here. AMD, let's see. So let's see. AMD kind of looks like a rounding top in terms of a daily chart, honestly. And then we just pinged a reversal to the downside at 83.5. If it falls below 50 SMA, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing continued heading lower. And then when you look at it in terms of a daily chart, I'm assuming it's probably going to look just as ugly. Yeah, it's rejecting 50 SMA. I would wait for that break above. Otherwise, it's probably just going to keep heading even lower. Maybe retest 81 as support. If not, we're just going to head back down. Lulu. So Lululemon is currently seeing a little bit of resistance at 50 SMA in terms of a daily chart, but with the current trend, it did break this crossover to the downside. I wouldn't be surprised if we broke and started pushing towards the 200-day moving average in terms of a daily chart. It is firing a 0, which is long, and it is fairly nice in terms of RSI. If I look at it on a hourly chart, it's probably going to look just as good. Yeah, rounding bottom. Above 320, I think we could definitely watch it rip even higher. Let's see. Activision Cup and Handle daily. Let's see. So that does look like a cup and handle. So let me just pull that up real quick. Yeah, so ideally we bottom out at this 9 and 50-day moving average, and then we kind of rip higher to retest the $100 mark based off of just like that cup and handle. Or this can be a very, very abstract head and shoulders and we retake 105. Overall, I think that looks pretty good. I like Activision. Any advice on playing stocks that look overextended but keep moving? I always miss out on plays thinking it has no more room to run, but it moons. Honestly, that's kind of just how it be, bro. That's just how it is sometimes. I'll exit a position and sometimes the stock just keeps going. You just have to take your profit and, be happy with it. If the whole market's, running green and you're in something, maybe like keep moving your stop loss higher and higher as the stock continues upwards. That's called a trail stop. And have that set as your way of taking profit. Otherwise, there's not really much you can do about that. Next, you have Tree. Lending Tree. It looks like it's trying to round out a bottom here at this 200 mark. It did cross over in terms of a daily chart and is kind of neutral going into bullish for our visualizer. Overall, I think that if you can get this thing back above like the back above this little like 230 mark, you can maybe see it run even higher to 240 and then some. It looks pretty bullish from where it's at currently. Roblox, sure. I think this is going to be the last ticker that I take. I'm going to ask my partner here, CJ, if he's got anything as well. But let me just peep this out real quick. So Roblox, I mean, there's not really a setup here. This looks like a head and shoulders. It's pinging a reversal to the downside right now at 72. Maybe take profit at 71 or 68. I wouldn't really play something like this. But yeah, CJ, do you have anything you're looking at, bro?
Yo, bro, you basically covered them all.
Yeah, I know. I kind of just ran through it all.
No, you're good. The only two that you have that you, or the only two I have you didn't cover is take a look at, is it Futu? Futu? I know I had a lot of hype a few weeks back, but I think they got a nice little bull flag on the daily going on right there. I'm thinking maybe above 160.
Oh shoot! Okay.
Calls up to like 163.
Yeah. Shoot! I just messed my chart up. Yeah, as soon as you said bull flag, that was the first thing I noticed here too. I'll set an alert. We'll watch that on Monday. 160 for bull flag.
That might be a nice little run.
That looks pretty fresh.
Also, yeah, man, I had to get in the bag. I'm like, yo, he hit them all. Also, take a look at a Dash, which is DoorDash. They've been getting beat up pretty recently, but I think now above 141, I think they got some room to run back up to like the 150.
Okay. DoorDash is kind of rounding a bottom in terms of daily. Let me just look at it on a 4-hour as well. Yeah, I mean, you have a reversal ping to the upside at 134.5. I think that this push that it had recently is definitely showing a little bit of an early sign that will push. Overall, we did also break above 200 SMA in terms of an hourly. I mean, it does just look like a plain old rounding bottom. It crossed over RSI's neutral. Profit target 160, bro.
That's what I'm thinking. PT 160. And I got two more for you.
What's up?
UPS ups.
Ups.
So, yes, sir. Above maybe 176. I think they run.
They retest highs.
Possibly, bro. Just kind of like another HD. Maybe. So for me personally, I'm thinking 176. I'll grab calls up to like 176 and a half, 177 and a half, and then 178. And if they break that, yeah, we go there.
Sheesh. All right, I like that too, actually. Yeah, and go 180 plus.
Yeah. Now one thing to watch. Let me go back. They do have earnings. But my computer's going kind of slow. So they do have earnings. My bad. Side note, banks have earnings this week. I don't know if you already mentioned that to the group.
Yeah, I mentioned that when we were looking at JP Morgan. I'm definitely watching over JPM in particular because I do know how they play. So that in mind, I'm pretty curious to see if we watch banks run and see tech kind of fall back. Mainly for the same reason that we saw banks pull back and tech run, because we're starting to see tech earnings and all the kind of we're seeing that, what's it called, market rotation.
Rotation.
Yes, sir. Yeah, let me just adjust my custom scripts real quick because I guess I figured out what was making it mess up. But overall, I mean, I think Ups definitely has the same similar setup to what Home Depot had. I think Home Depot is set to just continue running mainly because of just its current chart setup is really strong. It hasn't really had any red days in I don't even know how long, like a month. And I'm not gonna try to play against the trend there.
Ups has, I gotta stop. UPS, right? They have earnings on the 27th. So, I mean, ideally, I want to see like a run up into earnings, and then we take profit before.
Okay.
And then I have one last one. This one's a little out there, a little abstract. But if we gap up tomorrow,
McDonald's.
hypothetically speaking. No, not McDonald's. I'm thinking, okay, look, so VIX slapped 16 Friday.
Yes.
So I'm thinking if we gap up in the market and VIX gaps back to that 16 area, I wouldn't be opposed to grabbing like 100 shares or something like that. You know what I mean? Back up to like 18.
I didn't even know you can grab VIX shares, bro, to be honest.
Huh?
You can grab VIX shares?
I'm pretty sure. Let me try. Or at least options,
Yeah, I know you can get options, yeah.
But if that's the case, yeah, I think we can definitely pull back to like 18. I mean, keep in mind, market doesn't start sliding until we're like above 26. So I'm just saying from like 16 to 18, even 20 tap wouldn't be asking for too much.
I mean, I know a few people who are long on VIX right now. Also notice that our bonds did kind of bounce on 200-day moving average. They're getting pretty close to 50 SMA. If 50 SMA doesn't push it back down, we're probably going to see tech slide a little bit.
I guess you can't buy or VIX shares. You can only do options.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean overall, I'm neutral to bearish going into the market this week. And I mean, we'll see how it goes. I think we might just double top right here in terms of like NQ, and we'll play it by ear. But overall, I think it's maybe small pullback because we are kind of overbought, and then we rip higher.
Let's get it.
Let's get it. So yeah, I appreciate everyone for tuning in to tonight's Sunday Stock Talk. The VOD will be uploaded as soon as this ends. In case I missed your thing, I'm sorry. I did close off after Roblox. Let's see. Actually, we have one more. I'll just knock it out really quick. And then we'll call it a night. So BCTX is currently crossed up in terms of a daily chart. It is a little bullish on this RSI. Bullish on our visualizer. I wouldn't be surprised if we retested this $6 mark. I've never traded this thing before. It looks like a penny stock. Personally, not my thing, but overall, it looks pretty bullish for a little rounding bottom. That said, I am calling it a stream here. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.
Peace.